The energy output of our facility is ever increasing. You have proven that you are much more capable than you originally perceived yourself to be. The high echelon is watching you. Our founder, A, is among them. What do you know about A? A, he is a visionary, a farmer who sowed seeds on a virgin soil no one had approached before. In time, he may express interest in meeting you in person. If that happens, you'll be able to make your dreams come true. Myself, well, of course, I highly admire him. But to be fair, he is the one who created me. He's also an enigmatic person. I imagine there are few who can truly understand him. In fact, to truly understand anyone is difficult. Will the day come that I understand you completely? Manager, you are the head of this corporation. You're supposed to set an example for others, but that outfit would warrant at least 10 penalty points in our department. The manager should be no exception. However, the rules state that a Sephrai has no authority to impose penalty points to the manager, so I must let you off for now. I am Yesod, the Sephrai of the information team. The information team is in charge of processing and archiving all the data of our company. New information is generated every day, and we need to ensure that the information is accurate, so we must concentrate and focus on our job at all times. It may be compared to a massive bibliotheca, or how you pronounce that. I am very well read. A single bit of misinformation could lead to an uncontrollable disaster. I am sure that you can understand the gravity of my work. Every sliver of the information that you read contains the despair and desperation of our employees. Please do not think lightly of that information. It seems you are curious about my outfit. I have an aversion to exposing any part of my body. I don't exactly remember when I started feeling this way, but it's likely that I've been this way even before I joined the company. Yesod, do you have any spare paper? Our department could use some. Nitzak, the rules state that we're not supposed to trade resources between teams. It should be in the very first page of the Zephyriah manual. Alright. Stop giving me the sharp look, Mr. Viper. Well, I'm heading out. Not in the mood to get bitten today. What are you trying to say with that expression of yours? Is this entertaining to you? Does the nickname make you laugh? My apologies, I overreacted a bit. The other Sephiroth simply use my nickname as a joke, but others use it in a more serious manner. I know there are many employees who genuinely despise me. Nicknames may be a childish thing, but there's no better way to describe a person in such few words. I personally like my nickname. What's your opinion, manager? You know, I like the sound of it. I would never suck up to random people. Seems we're in agreement then. I should get going now. I need to finish today's work. Oh, and I must send you the next assignment. The information team is always in need of more data on the abnormalities. At this point of research, we need more testing with instinct work to resolve the abnormalities primal instinct to drive. So just finish 4 instinct works. This is literally a freebie, probably just because Yesod's research is really kind of necessary. And we just further expend information, as per the usual. Hello and welcome back to Lobotomy Corp. And our facility has a problem, and that's that we're kind of not good at training. All we have is 2 Teths and 4 Zains, and Zains, as I've been saying the entire game, are pretty crappy for training. So my plan for today, I shuffled around some people before the day started, like yesterday. Goom's back into Control and B, and this one are down here information. I'm just gonna continue avoiding saying their name. Because the new abnormality I'm probably going to train Prudence and Instinct with. It's another attachment focused one, but I'm just going to be ignoring that. It's not a major issue if it escapes, so we'll see when I go over it later. And our old friend, I just realized that this wouldn't work. I'm dumb. Because our also has an funny instant kill that would work on everyone except B in this department. I think I need to make a minor change to my plan. Guess he'll train temperance, and then we'll just have B train cause Christopher is just a tad too low. to work with it. I guess I can have him work it like once in a couple times, and I'll be probably good. So yeah, only be working on Instinct and Prudence with a new one. You have been already working on Justice / Repression with this guy, because his repressions are all common, and if he breaks out, we can suppress him now. It'll just be somewhat difficult. With that, let's get into it. I can't believe I failed to realize the instant kill. Oh well. I swear I know how to play this game. Void Dream is a Teth abnormality that deals black damage, and it's also our first example of an abnormality with a stat floor. If you not at least have level 2 temperance when you work on it, at the end of your work you will die. Technically you'll fall asleep for all eternity, but it's considered death by the game, so I'm gonna call it death. It has a Quillcloth counter of 2, which will always breach on a bad result, and it's the only way, it'll always lower on a bad result, and that is the only way to get it to lower. When its Quillcloth counter hits 0, it breaches. However, its work rates are pretty good in everything except repression, and so as long as you're not repressing it, it's going to be pretty difficult for you to get a bad result, and therefore you probably won't even see it breach in the first place. However, if it does breach, it will fly around, shooting out stars in random directions. If an employee gets hit by a star, they'll fall asleep. However, this is not an instant death, unlike its effect on level 1 temperance employees. You can click on anyone who's fallen asleep to this effect multiple times and they will wake up. If you just ignore it, eventually it'll just return to its cell after it shoots off enough stars. Otherwise, you can still attack it to suppress it, but it will enter a secondary form. While it's in this form, its attack will switch to screeching to deal white damage to everyone in the same room as it. If there's any sleeping employees in the same room when it screeches from its other attack in its first form, they will instantly panic on wake up. I failed to get any footage of this because I waited for a while, it just wasn't happening, I don't know what, screw it. Overall, it's not very difficult to suppress, considering it's one attack. It's just an easier version of our other Teth's attack. However, overall, it's pretty similar to our first Teth. Just a slightly worse weapon and suit. Its weapon, however, is worth noting. It is a ranged white weapon, which is very handy for calming down panicking employees. Its armor, though, isn't quite as good. While you might see its white and black defenses are fairly decent, its red defense, which is the most important in the early game, it's actually weak to red damage, which kind of hurts the suit in the long run. Its gift is another gift that's just there, doesn't really do much. It looks kind of nice, I guess, but that's about as much as you can say for it. Overall, it's just a slightly worse version of Fragment of the Universe, but in this case, just because of its Instinct and Insight results, we can use it as a trainer for those instead. I'd rather have black damage attachment focused things repeat anyway, if we're going to have repeats like that, just because you can use them to train other stats more easily. So now time for the actual workday. As I mentioned earlier, we're kind of going for a non-traditional way of working with Fragment and Void Dream. It's just Justice Fragment training for Maria Goom, and then Instinct and Insight for B. BU's Instinct is also the main thing we're finishing Yesod's current mission with, which is just 4 Instincts. My plan was to go until Meltdown level 6, so there's definitely going to have time to do 4 Instinct works total, especially if something like Fairy or Welchers melts down. I also decided that I wanted to get Christopher and Little Effer up to Temperance level 2, just so they could work on Void Dream in the future. Because I want to have basically everyone available, and I was probably going to move Little Effer down into information soon. I was going to do it today, and then I realized that he would die if I worked on Void Dream. And so would Christopher. I think Christopher only needed the 1 work with 1 sin, but just to be safe, I had him work 1 or 2 more times. Goom's work success is actually so high that even working repression on fragments high instead of common, which just goes to show how little of a threat the tests will get to be, as long as we're like working with anything they're decent in, once they have decent temperance stats. Although we can definitely handle Fragment. It's no longer just a day ender if it escapes. That was only for like the very beginning of the game. We just got it slightly earlier than I was hoping. I actually did want it for this run though. I wanted information. Overall, I still, as I stated earlier, I just think Fragment's just a better version of Void Dream, but luckily Void Dream has its decent rates in Instinct and Insight, just because it allows us to use it as something separate from just a worse version of Fragment. Void Dream, Fragment you can use to train up from level 1 to level 3, but Void Dream is really only level 2 to level 3 in its best work rate attachment. I guess you could grind up to level 4, but it would just take a while, and I just prefer jumping to an HE at that point, because there's some really good HEs for Temperance. One of the best trainers in the game actually is there in that level, but we'll get to her if we find her. Now Crimson Dawn's about to show up again. We went over them last time. I moved Mr. Black to the Fragment hallway just because I don't want to deal with it escaping that often. But we're having Christopher deal with the one in information. But this is actually... There's actually another tactic that we can show off now. B's work with Void Dream finished, and she's automatically going to move on to attacking the clown. Agents will always do this if there's something suppressible in the room when they exit from a work. It's something to be aware of if you have something that's really dangerous there, but the clowns are not really dangerous. B probably did almost die there just because of the work combined with her low health, combined with an exploding clown, but she was fine. We're basically just juggling Void Dream, Fragment, and what's his name? Oh yeah, Onsen right now. I want Onsen to essentially, what's the proper word? I wanted to get Little Effer's Temperance up to 2. I think I already said that, but if you notice, Christopher actually got the Crown of Thorns from Onsen. Shockingly, this is the first time we've gotten it, but not the first time ever. It's just the first time in a day without we didn't have to reset. Mr. Black on one of the failed attempts at, I believe, day 3. It's okay, as I stated earlier. It's really just good because it's an overwrite gift, so I'm gonna be honest. And there's an instant kill gift in the same slot as it. I think I had Goom work with Fragment slightly more than Murray, but I was trying to keep it fairly balanced overall. Christopher's a designated well-choose worker just because I'm too attached to everyone else's appearance and I don't like the way that gift looks. It's basically the same as he was at the same situation that he was in yesterday. V got Void Dream's gift too, which isn't really surprising. She's been working with it in the entire day and it's a test, so the gift's a decent drop rate. Other than that, nothing out of the ordinary. Fairy Festival still hasn't even worked at all yet. It's kind of just safely ignore it. Especially because we can just use Void Dream as a better version of its instinct training now. We'll basically only work with it from now on if we have to, because of a meltdown. Void Dreams, well, we're not going for all of Void Dream's equipment right now just because it's not good enough. I do want to make one of the weapon and one of the armor just because I'll probably have someone wear the armor even though it's not really that great right now. In fact, it's probably only a liability in case one of the tough ones shows up. Hopefully that was filming. That's your resume. It's already unplugged. I'll double check. I don't know why it took me so long to have Christopher work on that. You guys really do nothing. But this is the real risky part of working Fragment and Repression. It's way more likely to escape right now, and Fragment did just escape. I was trying to see if Maria was in the room or not, because I didn't want her to send her out when she was in at full health, but she was not in the room at all. So I decided to leave her there to heal for a bit. It can really just run rampant in the hallways for a bit. There's not really any reason to not let the clerks die. They do give a minor stat buff if you keep them alive, but it's not really anything worth trying for. Unfortunately, everyone's really slow, so even though everyone knows to suppress it, everyone's justice is level 1, so it's going to take them a bit to make it over there. And also, they all take dumb routes. Marie's the first one to make it over there, and they both wind up in a transition to a different room, so it takes a while for them to engage after they meet up. But Marie's going to poke it for a bit. You have to keep the suppression menu up right now just to keep track of HP. In general, it's a good idea to keep the suppression menu up when you're suppressing something that's dangerous anyway, just because you can easily retreat one person at a time if it's a single targeter. I said to have B movement just because I wasn't sure how much longer this fight would last, but as soon as I decide it's time for Mr. Black to retreat, it dies anyway and goes back to itself. As you can see, fragment is no longer an issue. And it's really just a combination of higher health and better weapons. Fragment's armor kind of helps, but it's still weak to half of its moveset, so I wouldn't really say that it's been a key reason why we've been able to suppress it nowadays. Christopher got Welchier's gift. He is now a Jesus hobo. And this is the last meltdown we're having today because it's the last level we're going for. Just sending everyone to work as per the usual. Mr. Black barely did anything today, but I think I'll have a bit more to do on the next day. I have a plan. There's not really much to say because I was working with things as normal for the rest of the day. I decided to manufacture some of Welchier's equipment. I'm not worrying about finishing off the equipment for all the information abnormalities right now. We have a whole day to do that. Now it's called day 10 because, spoiler alert, just like day 5 there'll be no new abnormality then. So I'll just use it to finish off equipment. I'm just trying to progress to the edge of meltdown level 6, and then end day. We could go for longer story stats, I just don't really see any reason to. It was about as good of a day as I could have expected, really. A little effort didn't get the Crown of Thorns, but for some reason it's not really dropping as much as it normally does this playthrough. Like, in my first facility, pretty much everyone who worked with once in for a certain period of time had it. Also, in my first facility, this is the day I got my first HE level abnormality. But time for the day to end. We had some pretty good growth overall. Goom hit Justice level 2, and Maria's really close to Justice level 2. You can't really tell. Now you can tell. Goom and B also level 3 agents, just because their stats are so high overall. B hit Fortitude 3. I don't know how close she is to getting Prudence level 3, which is probably pretty close to that too. Other than that, basically just a pretty good day overall. Not really massive stat gains, but pretty decent overall. You don't really have any efficient trainers, so that's what I expected. Our 3 abnormalities are D, O2, 107. I think this might be our first backer abnormalities. You can tell by the D and the circle. If it isn't, then I'm just gonna look like an idiot. Dude, your little angel is gnawing on our colleague's finger. Oh, O298. Now it's time for my head to burst. Good day. I do not want this one. Oh, 04100. The more blood it has, the more beautiful it is. To elaborate more, this is a HE, but it has a fairly high stat floor to work on it. I don't think anyone can meet it right now. This is a Teth that is okay. It trains instinct. I kind of want a justice trainer the most right now. And I forget what this is, but I think it's a Teth. Rolling the dice. and I got a 2, so I'm stuck with, that HE. And now it is time for sheep lore. I wish to sleep eternally, so don't bother trying to wake me up again. An abnormality whose form sports a goat's fur and horns. It is not unique in regards to its appearance, with the exception of several colorful eyes embedded upon its body. Getting information about this abnormality is expected to be difficult due to its ceaseless slumber. The following council log illustrates how Void Dream's ability to make any person slumber psychologically affects the employees. The results indicate that we cannot use this ability to reduce the mental corruption of our staff. Please refer to this record for further research. Please, make it quick, I gotta sleep. Is that because of the abnormality? Yeah, I remember seeing something that looked like a sheep pass by me and well, I fell asleep. Since then I've been like this. Do you remember the dream you had back when that occurred? Oh, I could never forget that dream. Could you please tell me as much as you can about it? It was a happy, wonderful, sweet dream. That's all the words I need to describe it. Heck, I even felt glad to be working for this company. I saw a guy who's not with me anymore. He was right next to me. Because of that, I couldn't get a hold of myself when I woke up. I see. I've heard a little about you from the other employees recently. All of them say the only thing you do outside of work hours is sleep. Could you please tell me why? Don't you understand what I'm talking about? I just want to have that dream again. That dream where I was there with him, recalling those happy moments, but I couldn't go back, and every time I slept and slept and slept and slept and slept and slept, and yet... I see. I advise you to take some rest in your room. They say everyone who woke up after hearing that abnormality sound went mad. People think it's all because they had a horrible nightmare they couldn't handle, but it's actually the other way around. The reality they had to wake up to was so terrible that the soul gave up on waking life. As you know, time flows differently in dreams. A mere instant of waking life constitutes an eternity in the dream world. Maybe if Void Dream were to put me to sleep once again, then I might just have that wonderful dream anew. I'll prescribe you some sleep medicine. I assure you I'll help you sleep. Please get some rest for now. Finally, you'll be prohibited from entering the abnormalities containment unit from now on. A demon must change its shape to deceive others. A demon must grant sweet dreams to deceive others. A crack appears in the human mind when it is shown the dream it yearns for. A demon will never miss this chance to bring one to their doom. Don't say such complicated things, don't say those scary words. I just want to grant people sweet dreams, grant them the enrapturing dreams they want. Those who have had my dreams are destined to come back to me, so just close your eyes. In the dream, your smile was beaming, and we chatted with such liveliness. When I came back to waking life, I realized I was back in a world in which you no longer existed. I felt a void as big as that fleeting happiness I felt in the dream filled my heart. I closed my eyes and forced myself to sleep, but morning was still to come no matter what. I think that's when my soul started to crumble. In fact, I was already broken since the day I parted with you, but I've only been acting fine. My soul was already shattering into fragments after the passing of that day. Once I saw you again, my yearning for you began to bear down so heavily, I couldn't even go back to my old self again. Counseling, rest, all of it was useless. I spent days by myself agonizing until I finally realized it. It lured me with an unforgettable bait. That was the price for eating away my nightmares, and it left me with nothing but void. So I have no chances but to return to it. Then I have lost to it. I don't want to know anything anymore. Please, eat my dreams. What a beautiful story.